So I came across this interesting article from ESPN, and they ranked NFL teams into 11 different tiers. This is written by Jeremy Fowler. And so I want to react to where they have the Packers. So scrolling through this, as I said, there are 11 tiers. The Packers are in the third tier, and they're the sixth team listed out of all teams, first in the third tier. So honestly, somewhat high for the Packers considering, they went out round one of the playoffs. But here's what he says. Need a postseason breakthrough. That is the title of this tier. It says average age of roster 25.5, still a very young team. Salary cap space $35.8 million. Total draft picks this season 2025 7. What's next? Known for drafting and developing most of the roster, the Packers would be wise to comb the trade or free agency market for bigger swings. This is a good but not great team that can vault into the elite with a few more players. Why not call the Raiders on Max Crosby? He would change the complexion of the team's defense. And when Josh Jacobs is publicly questioning the Packers' need for a number one receiver, that's probably a cue to at least look into it. The Packers sport one of the league's youngest rosters, which bodes well for the future. Re-signing center Josh Myers is a sensible move. So for the most part, I agree with what he had to say there regarding what's next. I think that all of us Packers fans would agree that with how the Packers finished the season this past year, not too long ago, against the Eagles, losing 22-10, there's no doubt that they need to be more consistent to be one of the best teams in the league. One way you can become more consistent is by getting an elite top-tier edge rusher, and I, for one, would be very happy to see the Packers trade for a Max Crosby or a Myles Garrett. I think that would be a no-brainer, massive, addition for the Packers team that, needs a little bit more heading into 2025. And I think that we just need to see a lot more consistency from lots of different players, especially Jordan Love, because he did not play good football against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think the Packers defense, for the most part, played okay. I mean, it could have been easily 29 if Saquon didn't decide to fall down on that one breakaway run where the Eagles could have easily had 29 points. But when we look at where the Packers are listed out of all these teams, I think sixth it's on the higher range I would expect for people to put the Packers. And I would maybe put the Packers a little bit lower just based off of, Jordan Love's play in the playoffs. I think that if we can see Jordan Love play the type of football we saw, in the playoffs last year against the Cowboys, then clearly this team is probably even better than the sixth team in the NFL. And so that's really the big question mark for me. Any NFL team success comes down to how is your quarterback playing in the biggest moments in the biggest games. And if Jordan Love can really play at his top tier level, like the ceiling we've seen from Love, then there's no doubt this team can be a top 5 team. If he plays like he did against the Eagles, then the Packers, aren't going to find success in the playoffs, if you're throwing 0 touchdowns and 3 picks. So there's no doubt that adding top-tier defensive players and other free agents will make this team a lot better. And a few other teams in this same tier, actually there's one other team in this tier that's slightly under the Packers. It is the Minnesota Vikings. And I would say, during the regular season, they were better than the Packers, but come postseason, Sam Darnold did not look good. And so now there's questions as to who's going to be the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. So I see them in a similar range. And then the top teams here, we have the Chiefs and Eagles, still major contenders. When you're in the Super Bowl, no doubt that I think you deserve that spot. Then on the cusp, Ravens, Bills, Lions. The Lions didn't look good in their playoff game. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the NFC North next season, because I do think that every year things change. And I think the Packers, Lions, and Vikings all have a chance at the NFC North next year. So hopefully the Packers do make some big-time moves. I do think adding, whether that's a big-time free agent, whether that's trading for someone, I think that's something the Packers 100% need to do, and I feel like they will make at least one big move. Last year we saw, I would say, 2 big moves, signing Josh Jacobs, signing Xavier McKinney. I think the Packers will do it once again. And I'm just curious what Brian Gutekunst is planning on right now. And in about a month, we'll have some idea, because that's about when free agency starts, when teams can start making trades. So it should be interesting about a month from now to see what Gutekunst actually has planned for this Packers team and the Packers' future. If you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.